Welcome to the Abridged Presidential Histories with Kenny Ryan. I'm your host, Kenny Ryan, and this is episode 0, my introductory episode. In this episode, I'm going to share what inspired this podcast, what you can expect from it, and a little about who I am. If you don't care about any of that and just want to dive into presidential history, I can't blame you. Go ahead, skip this episode and tune in to episode 1 on George Washington. I won't hold it against you. For those of you who are still here, let's get to all that stuff I just said I'd talk about. First, what inspired the Abridged Presidential Histories podcast? Well, one day I was hanging out with a friend and, because I'm really good at making conversation, I challenged them to name every American president in order and 3 things that each president should be known for. We got off to a decent start. George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson. It's Madison after that, right? We were able to name most of the presidents, but there were quite a few we knew nothing about. That inspired me to do 2 things. First, read a biography on every American president, and second, create this podcast. So, what can you expect from this podcast? This is the Abridged Presidential Histories. Abridged as in short, not super long. So, I'm going to try to keep it abridged. My goal is for each episode to be between 30 and 60 minutes in length, though I wouldn't be surprised if 1 or 2 goes longer, like FDR. The guy was elected 4 times. There's a lot to talk about there. In every episode, I will look for the most interesting and insightful moments from each president's life before, during, and after their presidencies. For example, did you know that young George Washington had a knack for running around battlefields like an action hero and kinda totally accidentally started the first global war? That's crazy. Let's talk about it. I'll also take a look around the country and the world at the start and end of each presidency to help place these guys in the larger historical narrative. Like, at the start of Washington's administration, there's a king on the throne of France, but at the end of Washington's administration, the French Revolution is swinging and the king has lost his head. I'll also do fun things like call out my favorite inventions from each administration, like the invention of the steamboat in 1807 or the invention of the cupcake in 1796. I think we all know which of those is a bigger deal. I'll close each episode by trying to find lessons in each president's experiences. Why were they successful? Why did some fail? What can we learn from them? So that's the content plan. Now, to put this together, I will read 1 biography on every president. I will pick these biographies through a combination of book reviews where I'm going to lean quite heavily on a totally unaffiliated but totally awesome website, bestpresidentialbios.com. I highly encourage any of you who are interested in presidential history to check that out. I'll look at that, book reviews, and my book selection will also be influenced by what's available at my public library or for sale online. As I'm reading these biographies, I'm going to take a lot of notes about whatever I find interesting. After I'm done reading, I'll look back through those notes and create a first draft from what stands out above the rest. To help fill any gaps as things that pop up as I'm writing this draft, I'm going to refer to the President's Fact Book, a book by Roger, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Roger Matuz. I'll look at that, I'll look at Britannica, or any other reputable resources if those don't do the trick. Most presidents get mentioned in each other's biographies, so with this approach I'll probably end up with 3 to 5 sources on each president, and every time I read a new biography, I'll revisit past presidents with new insights until those presidents stop being mentioned anymore, and then it will be time to record, edit, and publish that president's episode. As I start this, I've read through our 8th president already, Martin Van Buren, also known as the Little Magician. And I have scripts in some state of readiness for the first 4 presidents. I'm going to try to pace my releases so I never catch up to my reading, so the pace of releases might vary. That's the plan. Read a lot of biographies, do a lot of writing, do a lot of cutting, record, edit, publish, and hopefully bask in the warm adulations of your 5-star reviews. So who am I? My name is Kenny Ryan. I'm the guy attempting this plan. I'm a former journalist turned marketing professional who grew up in Texas and now lives in the Pacific Northwest. And I absolutely love history. I love history so much that I accidentally earned a minor in history in college. I basically kept taking cool-looking history classes to pad my schedule because who doesn't want to learn about Eastern European medieval wars? I mean, come on. And then one day it was time to graduate and I was told I'd earned a minor. Cool. That does not make me a historian. This is not a work of scholarship. There's no original research. I'm just a storyteller who loves this stuff, and I hope to share a bit of that passion with you. I hope that answered any basic questions you have about the abridged presidential histories and has you ready to go. If you're curious how you can support the podcast, you can do so at www.patreon.com/abridged presidential histories. That's www.patreon.com/abridged presidential histories. The goal of this podcast isn't to raise money or pay rent or anything like that, but any donations will be spent on the podcast hosting service, books, equipment, maybe some music, etc. Thank you for listening, enjoy the show, and please leave a 5-star review on your platform of choice if you enjoy the program. Thank you.